Alright, well, we're gonna who would win? Yeah, we'll do who would win. I was about to say what if, but who would win? I don't need anything for who would win this week. This one came to me from Corey Jackson. Thanks again, Corey. And this is Rocket Raccoon versus Chewbacca the Wookiee. Now, you'd think that it's a pretty similar matchup, and to some extent it is. They're two furry life form aliens that wield weaponry and go and are teamed up with their own. Their own partner Han Solo and Groot, respectively. Though Chewbacca would be more comparable to Groot, I'd imagine. So I've done Rocket plenty of times, but just to go over him again. Rocket is about roughly 2 feet high. He's a standard raccoon size. He's got the agility of a raccoon. He's skilled in hand-to-hand combat. He is a master tactician. He carries a wide range of weapons. Basic weapons things include a rocket pack, any amount of blasters on him. Maybe he will carry a knife on call. Usually a blaster or rifle of some kind on call. He has a cannon that even made Thanos, a guy who withstood 3 full-powered blasts from Black Bolt, who could destroy planets with his voice, and just had a nosebleed. So it made him surrender. He's got plenty of weapons on call, and trying to think if he has anything else right off the top of my head, because I don't have anything with me because I don't need it. I don't think so. So moving on, we have Chewbacca the Wookiee. Now Chewbacca is roughly, depending on which version we want to go with, Chewbacca is roughly between 200 and 250 years old, which is actually still young for Wookiees. Wookiees are very long-lived creatures in the Star Wars universe. A Wookiee that's 300 or 400 years old is nowhere near uncommon. Well, Chewbacca stands, I think Chewbacca stands somewhere in the 7-foot range, maybe 8-foot range. He's a massively strong, capable of ripping someone's arm out of their socket and just off completely. He's also a skilled pilot, engineer, good at combat tactics to an extent. He's good at setting up ploys, like setting up the explosives he did in Force Awakens, letting him go. He can't formulate plans on the fly. He doesn't speak English. He speaks Wookiee, which it's interesting to understand how people can and cannot understand Wookiee. He carries his trademark weapon is his bowcaster, which is immensely powerful weapon that normally only Wookiees or beings of similar size and power can muster, because the kickback recoil is so strong it would normally break someone's body from the shot. Though Han can use it with little difficulty. I like this thing. Like, wait, give it here. Not bad. It's strong enough to blow holes in like steel doors. It is extremely powerful hand cannon, basically. Kylo was lucky to survive that. He was lucky he had like some armor underneath his suit. Otherwise, he'd be pretty screwed. He would have pretty much had his side blown out completely. So I mean, Chewbacca's not extremely fast, but he's got a long stride. He can move quickly for his size, but he's not like agile or anything. He's lumbersome. He is big and hefty for an animal being of his stature. The question is, how does this fight break down? Well, I imagine, let's set it in Force Awakens, pre-Force Awakens. So Han's no longer with us, unfortunately. Let's put it here where, Chewbacca's out and about doing his own thing, and he got a bounty on his head. Guess who come collect the bounty? Rocket said, all right, now, and then, all right, boss, so we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the fun way. And then, sorry, yeah. Which I find interesting. Do you think Rocket would understand Wookiee, assuming they existed in the same universe? Do you think Rocket would understand Wookiee? Because he understands Groot. He perfectly understands Groot. And all Groot is able to say is, I am Groot. But Rocket actually knows what he's saying. And then, later on, Star Wars can figure it out, and so forth and so on. So, do you think maybe he'd understand Wookiee? For the sake of this, let's just say no, he doesn't understand Wookiee. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know what you're saying. He also has a stun blaster, which you see in the movie also. So maybe he's going to just fires at Chewbacca, fires the stun bolt on Chewbacca, avoids it. Maybe throws a hand grenade at him, and, Rocket's like, whoa! And Rocket throws a hand grenade at Chewbacca's getting out of the way. Chewbacca fires his bowcaster, and pew, 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 pew. Rocket's now, using his rockets to stay in the sky, because when it hits the ground, it's worse to be on the ground with the bullet caster simply because the power of the weapon and all the debris. Whereas in the air, he's just got to avoid the actual blaster bullet itself. Chewbacca's just boom, doo, doo. Rocket's trying to fire back. Chewbacca's, whatever. But Chewbacca's got the advantage of being far physically stronger than Rocket. So maybe he grabs like a big rock and just throws it at Rocket and just, whoa! And now he's avoiding rocks and lasers. And eventually one lucky one gets on Rocket's rocket pack. And, he's got to abandon it. Fires the spinning thing spinning out of control at Chewie. Chewie's now Rocket just blasts a bullet caster out of Chewie's hand. Is about to fire at Chewie again, but Chewie just charges in and just boom smashes Rocket. Rocket luckily is able to get out of the way because Rocket has far more combat experience, I would guess, than like on the battlefield combat experience. So we don't know Chewie's real past yet. We might find that out later in the Young Han Solo movie. So maybe he does actually have a lot of history in the battlefield. We do know he fought in the Clone War. Well, in the Clone Wars. We do know he fought with hold on one second. Come on, Papa. Make pee-pee, make poopy. We do know that he did fight with Yoda on Kashyyyk, so he has fought before. He's combat trained, but in terms of how much combat is relative. I mean, he's lived longer, but we just don't know. We know he is combat trained, but I imagine Rocket is just the far more ruthless. Rocket's also the more, I guess, ruthless is better. Ruthless, crass, and all-around meaner individual than Chewie. Chewie's actually a very nice, Rocket's a good guy deep down too. But when you compare it to, Chewie's a very nice guy, normally speaking. He's not crass or anything like that. Maybe he'll throw a jab at Han's way or something, but he's not like anything like that. Rocket's a mean, crass dude half the time. He's a guy who just doesn't care, even though deep down he does. He's the jackass with a heart of gold, whereas Chewie's not. And he's also got a much harsher outlook on life, as far as we can tell, than Chewie does. Point being, so Chewie's going to try to smash him down on the ground, and Rocket's out of the way, starts kind of smashing, like he did in Volume 2, where he beats the crap out of that guy. Just Chewie's a lot more durable than just some average human, so, if they're going to maybe annoy Chewie and maybe hurt him a little bit, he's just, and then, maybe just tries to grab a Rocket, flies like, yeah, and then maybe finally grabs Rocket, throws him, and then pins him down, and maybe he's about to crush Rocket in his paw, and maybe he's just smashing down. All of a sudden, Rocket's got one more hand, in a beep, does it, and then all of a sudden, the little, then maybe he's got a shock grenade or something. He's got some sort of grenade on him, and shocks Chewie enough that Rocket then pulls out his blaster and just blasts Chewie up, and Chewie dead. The reason Chewbacca loses this fight in the majority of the time, and there's this real scenario where Chewie just grabs Rocket, overpowers him, and maybe smacks him head first into a rock and just just squishes him dead. But the reason Rocket, I think, wins this the majority of the time is because Rocket, I do believe, despite the fact that Chewie is older, and yes, he has combat experience, we don't know really how much compared to Rocket he has. Whereas Rocket is a bounty hunter. Rocket fights guys on a day-to-day basis. Chewie does not do that anymore. Maybe at one point he did, but Chewie doesn't do that anymore. Period. He does fight individuals, clearly, but Rocket does that much more often than Chewbacca does. Therefore, he has far more really on the battlefield experience at this point in time, I would suppose, cumulatively. He's far more ruthless and far more willing to not play fair. And he's small. He's a smaller target and far more agile than Chewie is. So that's why I'd give it probably about 70% of the time to Rocket. That's basically how I would. That's how I'd put it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As those of you who want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I'd either would win Star Wars, Superhero Magic, What If, anything I do on the channel. Put in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to it at some point. I'll be back in a little bit with What If. And thanks for watching. See you next time.